Everyone tells you to save more, invest more, and work one more year. But let me ask you something uncomfortable. Have you ever added up how much money you're losing each year by holding on to things that no longer fit your life? What if I told you that some retirees quietly lose $10,000, $20,000, even $40,000 a year, not because they're bad with money, but because they're loyal to the wrong things? Most people enter retirement thinking about what they need to buy. Very few stop to ask what they should release. I'm 78 years old. I worked for over 4 decades. I've been retired long enough to see patterns. And I've buried enough friends to understand something else. Time becomes your most expensive asset the day you stop working. There are 2 types of people listening to me right now. The first type is thinking, am I even ready to retire financially? The second type is saying, I know I'm ready. I just don't want to waste what I worked so hard to build. If you fall into either group, this message is for you. The biggest mistake I see retirees make is that they carry their working life into retirement. They change their schedule, but they don't change their structure. Let me tell you about a man named Robert. Robert spent 38 years working in construction management. He was respected, he was busy, he was needed. When he retired at 67, he told me something that sounded proud at first. I didn't change much. I kept my house, I kept my truck, I kept my routines. I wanted things to stay normal. But 3 years later, when I saw him again, he looked tired. Not physically tired, emotionally tired. He was spending $18,000 a year maintaining a large house he lived in alone. He was paying $3,200 a year on a truck he used once a week. He was still paying $2,400 a year for storage on tools he no longer used. That's over $23,000 a year to protect a version of his life that no longer existed. At first, Robert resisted change because those things represented who he had been. The house was proof he had made it. The truck was proof he was still capable. The tools were proof that he was still needed. But when he finally let go of some of those things, something unexpected happened. He didn't feel smaller. He felt lighter. He moved into a smaller place closer to town, sold the truck, gave away most of the tools to younger tradesmen. His yearly expenses dropped by nearly $15,000. But more importantly, he stopped waking up every day trying to maintain a past version of himself. Freedom doesn't come from owning more. It comes from owning what fits the life you're actually living. Number 1, the oversized house. Everyone tells you to build equity in your home. But after decades of watching people retire, I've learned the real upgrade is knowing when your home becomes a financial anchor. There are 2 types of retirees when it comes to housing. One sees the house as shelter. The other sees it as identity. The biggest mistake I see is keeping a home that was designed for a family when you're living alone or as a couple. Let me tell you about a woman named Elaine. Elaine raised 4 children in a beautiful 2-story home. When the kids left, the house didn't shrink. The costs didn't shrink. The maintenance didn't shrink. Her yearly expenses looked like this: $9,500 in property taxes, $6,800 in utilities and repairs, $4,000 in seasonal maintenance. That's over $20,000 a year just to live in space she didn't use. At first, she resisted because that house held her identity as a mother. It held birthdays, graduations, Sunday dinners. But when she finally sold it and moved into a smaller place near the park, she didn't lose her memories. She gained her life back. Her yearly costs dropped by about $13,000. She walked more, she met neighbors, she traveled. Before you change anything about where you live, ask yourself these 3 questions. Does this home serve the life I live now or the life I used to live? What is the true yearly cost of staying here? If I let this go, what becomes possible instead? The happiest retirees I know aren't the ones with the biggest homes. They're the ones who live where their life actually happens. Number 2. Financially carrying adult children. Everyone tells you to help your kids no matter what. But after watching too many parents delay their own lives, I've learned the real upgrade is helping without sacrificing yourself. There are 2 types of parents in retirement. One supports, the other rescues. The biggest mistake I see is trading your freedom for your children's comfort. Let me tell you about Frank and Helen. They delayed retirement for 2 years so their son could get on his feet. Those 2 years cost them roughly $95,000 in lost retirement income. 2 healthy years of travel and freedom. At first, they resisted change because helping their son felt like love. But when they finally stopped funding his lifestyle, he figured things out on his own within 18 months. They let go of guilt. He gained responsibility. Before you change anything about helping your children, ask yourself, 1. Is this support or rescue? 2. What is this truly costing me each year? 3. What would become possible if I redirected this money into my own life? The happiest parents in retirement aren't the ones who pay for everything. They're the ones who raise children capable of standing on their own. Number 3. Expensive hobbies that became financial leaks. Everyone tells you to enjoy your toys in retirement. But after watching budgets collapse, I've learned the real upgrade is separating joy from ego. There are 2 types of hobbies in retirement. One feeds your life, the other feeds your image. The biggest mistake I see is paying thousands of dollars a year to maintain hobbies you barely use. Let me tell you about Carl. Carl owned a beautiful RV. He used it 4 times a year. His yearly costs? $5,400 storage, $3,600 insurance and maintenance, $1,200 registration and repairs. That's over $10,000 a year for something that sat still most of the time. But when he sold it, he rented one when he needed it and spent the difference traveling more often. He let go of ownership. He kept the experience. Ask yourself, does this hobby still bring real joy or just identity comfort? What is the yearly cost of keeping it? What experiences could replace it? The happiest retirees aren't the ones with the most toys. They're the ones with the most lived moments. Number 4, the extra car. Everyone tells you to keep convenience. But after seeing money leak quietly, I've learned the real upgrade is intentional inconvenience. 2 cars often cost $2,000 insurance, $1,200 maintenance, $1,000 registration and depreciation. That's over $4,000 a year for a vehicle that barely moves. At first, couples resist because 2 cars feel like freedom. But when they test living with one, they realize planning replaces waste. Before you change anything, ask 1. How often is this truly used? 2. What is the yearly cost of just in case? 3. What could this money fund instead? Number 5. Your old professional identity. Everyone tells you retirement is about rest. But after watching people lose themselves, I've learned the real upgrade is redefining who you are without your title. The biggest mistake I see is clinging to who you were instead of discovering who you can become. Let me tell you about James. He was a manager for 30 years. When he retired, he felt invisible. At first, he resisted because his job made him feel valuable. But when he let go, he found meaning in mentoring, volunteering, and creating. The happiest retirees aren't the ones who hold on to status. They're the ones who build a new identity rooted in presence. Before you retire, sell the things that belong to your past life. Keep what fits your present one. The happiest retirees aren't the ones who own the most. They're the ones who know the difference between what they own and what owns them. If this helped you see your retirement differently, hit the like button so this reaches someone who needs to hear it. Share it with someone you care about. And tell me in the comments which one of these is hardest for you to let go of. You might help someone else who's stuck in the same place.